Welcome to this week's edition of Rocky's 2-Minute Warning. After all the hurrah of the regular season, a lot of pretenders to the throne went off by the wayside. Oakland, the Jets, the Cowboys, the Bears, they're all out of the playoffs. We're going to look at the games that are coming up this weekend, and should be some good matchups, see where we're heading as we go down the road to the Super Bowl. But I got to ask you, Jeremy, overall, which team was the most disappointing in the season?
I think it's hard to say that Philly wasn't the most disappointing, given all the fanfare at the start of the year, calling them the dream team and whatnot. I believe I might have said early in the season that they were going to be a flop. San Diego, I guess you could throw into that. You know, there's other teams like Dallas and those teams you mentioned, but I think definitely Philly was pegged as a Super Bowl contender right off the bat.
I guess the message is don't call yourself the dream team unless you can deliver. That's for you, Miami Heat.
I would assume Indy probably they were looking for a Super Bowl at home this year, and obviously Manning went down. What's going to happen with that situation with Manning and Andrew Luck in the draft?
Well, you can't put Indianapolis in the same category, of course, as Philadelphia, because they did lose Peyton Manning, and that's a huge loss. Although I don't think anybody expected them to be as bad as they are at 2-14. But a lot of rumors swirling around. I mean, they fired the president, they fired the GM. I think the coach is on the firing seat, and we'll probably hear something the next couple of days. And Jim Irsay has said he's going to sit down and meet with Peyton Manning. Now you got to look at Peyton Manning, 35 years old, $90 million contract. He was owed over $20 million in March if he keeps him.
Before the draft.
Exactly. I think with what's going on there and the fact that they got so many players they're going to lose to free agency Saturday, and Reggie Wayne and Mathis, you just got to say at some point, let's do wholesale change. Lots of teams out there want Peyton Manning, the 49ers, the Redskins, the Jets, Miami. I mean, this would be a great opportunity for them to pick up Andrew Luck and just start from scratch. And I think that's probably what we're going to see.
Manning could go to Dallas and keep the same color uniform.
I'm sure he's thinking about that right now. Okay, let's look at the games coming up this weekend. What about Saturday?
Cincy, Houston. I was kind of looking at the games these teams have played going into the playoffs and who they beat and whatnot. One thing that was glaring was Cincinnati. They played 7 games this year against teams that have made the playoffs, and they lost them all. So they haven't beat anyone. They backed into the playoffs. They went to Houston. Sorry, Houston went to Cincinnati and beat them with Yates at quarterback. Obviously, Houston's a little banged up, but they still had a good defense. They were second in this year points allowed in their defense. So I can't see them getting by Houston. Although I'm sure New England wants Cincy to win that game because they'd end up with Cincy at home. But I can't see Cincy going in there and winning against Houston.
They did only beat them 2019, though, and Yates is injured. I mean, they had to pull Delhomme out of the nursing home to finish the game for them this weekend. So we'll see what kind of shape Yates is in, because that'll make all the difference.
Yeah.
Also on Saturday, we got Detroit Lions and New Orleans Saints. Of course, Detroit was the dream team, or the Cinderella team all season at the beginning, and then it seemed the wheels sort of came off. New Orleans is a 10.5-point favorite. They have all the guns. They got the best offense in the league. Both teams have suspect defense, but I think that with Drew Brees having the fewest sacks against on the season, you just can't give a guy with that much talent that much time.
Yeah.
And I don't know the 10.5 points is what it should be, but I certainly think they'll take on the Detroit Lions and beat them.
I know you're going to beat New Orleans in a shootout in the dome. And I don't think Detroit would have probably made the playoffs had Cutler not gone down for the Bears.
And on Sunday, what about Pittsburgh Steelers?
I don't get this one. Everyone seems to be giving Denver a chance, but Denver's lost their last 3. They only put 3 points up against Kansas City's defense, who, granted, is ranked 11th, but they're not Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's ranked first in points allowed, and I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. How can Denver score? This might end up 2-0 for a safety for Pittsburgh.
And I know that's tough for you because you were quite fond of Tebow.
It'll be very upsetting.
Atlanta Giants is the other one. I don't think that's going to be much of a matchup. Two very average teams, and I guess they're fighting for the right to lose the following week. Vegas has the G-Man up by 3 points, and I think when you got a southern team playing in a northern climate, maybe that's justified, but I think Atlanta has the better team all around if they can bring everything together, but the Giants are actually sort of on a roll right now. Of course, they did get by the Cowboys and made it in the last day of the season, and they are at home.
Does this ring a bit like 2008? This seems very similar to 2008, where they had to actually go on the road for 3 games. They got a home game.
I don't think they have the caliber team,
No.
and they still have the same awful coach. But for our good pal Corey McGill, we will give the nod to the New York Giants this weekend. Also, I want to say congratulations to the winner of the Rockies football pool, Andrew Drisnov. Just edged out Rolly Miller by 1 point. And, of course, I came in with 163 points this year to Jeremy's 151. So we'll see how next season makes out. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Rockies 2 Minute Warning.